Good Monday evening. We are in Ephes.2, and I have a quick question for you. How are you really doing this evening? I used to, before my phone broke down, I used to send a weekly text to everyone practically that was on my phone. And individually, I would send, just a question like, hey, is there anything that I could pray for, with you? And the reason why is because the season that I have come through over the years, I just know that, we can be dealt blows and can knock us off our feet. And sometimes it's just, good to have two or three people, just agreeing in prayer. And with some other changes that I've heard through the responses this afternoon. And so I received some requests and I was like, oh, wow, this chapter really speaks to some of the changes and how life can be hard and it can get us down, any of us. But in Ephesians 4, I want to remind you, God is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he has loved us. It's just overflowing. Just want to encourage you. In verse 6 of Ephesians 2, Paul is reminding us of our position. Remember in the last chapter, he reminded us that Jesus sat at the right hand in heavenly places in verse 20. That's the first chapter. Well, in the second chapter, here in verse 6, Paul is telling us and reminding us that God has raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. That is our position. So we are victorious no matter what we're facing, even the loss of a loved one, even the loss of a job. I just found out my neighbors across the street, they're leaving. And that's like kind of bittersweet, like, dang, oh man, been here all these years. Life is always changing and you feel a tugging, pulling away. Yeah. But guess what? We're even victorious in that situation. And in verse 8, a lot of people are beginning to get gifts, or maybe they received gifts, right? Last month, Valentine's Day, the world, celebrates that heavily, right? And maybe you didn't get the gift that you wanted, or in a couple months, Mother's Day is going to come up, or wedding season is coming, June, July, May, or even Mother's Day. Well, the gift that is for all of us is in verse 8, for by grace ye are saved through faith, and that not of ourselves. We can't do a thing about it. No, because it has already been worked out, already been planned out. It is the gift of God. That's the gift that we have to make sure that we receive. Even through all the ups and downs, the changes, the losses, the gains in life, know that we are made available, right, to this gift. And let's receive it, because that is abundant life where no one can stand in the return line and take it back and change their mind or want to exchange. No, this is a gift from God that is secure. And the best thing about it is that we are the Lord, God's masterpiece. Before he even formed the world, before he even thought about any of the formation of the world, he had you in mind. And in verse 10, we always quote this. And I think about this art museum that I sometimes serve as a docent. What is that? It's a museum guide, and I'm able to show, foreigners and tourists and school groups of all ages these great works of art. And of course, we might go to see the Picasso I show them. And that's the old man in the guitar where he's blue and slumped over and he has no hope and he's just depressed and he's, half dead, just, withering away. Or perhaps I might show them the World Chagall windows, the beautiful stained glass windows, or the Monet water lilies and the haystacks, and on and on. So many world pieces. But guess what? We are the masterpieces. In verse 10, Paul reminds us we are God's workmanship, right? That means we are so unique and perfect. We are created in Christ Jesus unto good works. So we got to do something about this perfect nature that the Lord has created in us, which God hath before ordained that we should walk in them. So he has planned for us to do some great, amazing things through him for his glory only. So let's walk in them. Let's find out, God, what you want me to do? You made me and you have a purpose and I want to glorify you. I don't want to waste the time on nothingness, but I want to ascribe all the value and the glory to your name. Have a wonderful evening discovering God's will and enjoying in his gifts.